So you mentioned about the longs you entered. I think you said one of them was GameStop. I have some talking points on them, but before I bring them up, what made you want to get into that stock this morning?
Oh, I mean, it looked surprisingly good in some key signals, right? It had upside of 80, which is very high long term for it. And then it had net options of 87 and net social of uh, 93. So yeah, it looked really good all around.
I think some of the reason why there's some bullishness, at least on social media end, is that Ryan Cohen and posted a photo on social media, and some people are wondering if GameStop is going to take on the MicroStrategy, which actually changed their name now to just Strategy. They're wondering if GameStop is going to take on the crypto Bitcoin reserve type move that MicroStrategy is doing. Do you think that
That's
would be
hilarious.
bullish if they
They're no
did that?
longer micro. Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting move in this day and age to keep raising equity funds and investing it in cryptocurrency. If you think about it, GameStop, one of the reasons why we only play it for momentum is that it has, I think a 14 profitability and a 30 growth. So it doesn't really have a business. But at the same time, we keep saying it. We're in a momentum market, and if you're not willing to capitalize on momentum, you're leaving a lot on the table. And obviously, we've been doing that this year.
So the other thing that I saw going around is that yesterday during the Super Bowl halftime show, to end it off, there was "Game Over" lit up in the stands, and people think that that is connected with Roaring Kitty's shirt that said "Game Over" when this all started. So, what do you make of that?
I mean, I make of it as there's a lot of people that want to draw a lot of lines that may or may not exist and draw them pretty definitively. So that's always my big problem with a lot of this stuff. It's not that it's not possible, right? I think there's a lot of things possible. But when you start investing, trading, whatever on the possible instead of the probable, then you're not really using sound techniques. And I think that that's probably the easiest way to talk about what I don't like about a lot of the meme retail trades. Like a lot of them are trading on the possible, not on the probable. And even if you're willing, we could dispute how possible, how sure, everybody's going to have different opinions on that. But I don't really think, unless you're like way in the conspiracy theory land, that like a lot of these things could be considered even remotely objectively as probable. And I think that that's kind of the difference as I see them. And to tie it back to the actual thing, I think it's pretty probable that GME, I thought it was going to go up today. It was up only 2.87% when I got it. And I think it's closer to 7% right now. So I thought it was quite probable that it would go up today. But I don't really think, whether it be Bitcoin or whatever, I don't think it's probable at all that they figured out what their long-term business is. It's possible, right, that they do this Bitcoin thing, right? But even then, why would you prefer, why would you really want to be in GameStop versus MicroStrategy? Maybe a better, valuation, but, it's a valuation of nothing, right? If ultimately, they're raising money to buy more Bitcoin, and that's the main, growth area of their business or upside of their business, why wouldn't you want to own a company that has just been, doing that for longer and has a lot more Bitcoin?
But obviously, our signals are bullish on it enough where you would get in, and it doesn't seem to me like a photo being posted on social media or a game over in the stands could trigger that. So do you think there's something else that could come to light in the near-term future, the reason why people would be betting on it, that our signals would pick up, other than what we're seeing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, a lot of institutions have similar playbooks with the memes, right? They're trading the waves. And I think what ends up happening is, there gets to be enough of a narrative online and there's enough people involved, and especially GameStop, that, yeah, it can help a stock find a floor, right? And I think that that's at this point a lot of what's going on, and a lot of it might have found its floor. There's enough energy that it at this price, we could take it for another ride, right? And institutions see the same thing. I think as they see more and more chatter, more and more, retail loading up on options contracts, then they, just do the same. They take it for a little ride, rinse, repeat.